So,
I was there for that one.
Yeah.
Me too.
That was a fun year.
Oh yeah.
so we have independent valid confirmation out there.
Yes.
So, at any rate.
So the hotel's sending everybody outside, but it's pouring down rain, so nobody wants to go
Yeah.
outside. We're all going back into the lobby.
So you've told us how you decided to start doing con running, and Ravencon in particular. So now it's been 12 years.
Okay.
Tell us one thing you've learned along the way that was a surprise to you.
I don't know if there have been any real big surprises on the learning curve.
Well, I don't mean just about cons. I mean about you're dealing with a very, very diverse group of people passing through every year.
There are little things that always surprise me. We don't like the kind of chips you're giving out in the con suite. We want Pepsi, not Coke. It always surprises me when people complain about the free things I give them. That never ceases to surprise me. And it's always something small that gets me.
Okay. So, Brandon, how is Ravencon distinctive? What is sort of the I suppose there's probably something that you talk about, and then there's maybe the unspoken things. So, how do you see this as different?
Well, branding-wise, we've always focused on we put the literature up front. We're a big tent con, so everything is there. We've got the anime and the gaming and the costuming and everything, small movies, what have you. And but we always make sure that the literature gets gets the majority of attention. And that's where science fiction conventions came from. It started from people getting together talking about the books that they like. And I see that kind of going away on some of the cons. So I really wanted to make sure that was something that we really kept as a strong focus. So we do a lot of literary workshops, and we've always got the readings. And, at least 60% of our panels are usually literary themed.
So, what's next for Ravencon? And what do you think is next for cons in general, which is sort of an riffing off of something you just said about the patterns, if you will?
I've always been very, very aware of patterns in conventions. There are always these trends that always hit big. Remember when it was goths? Everybody at the con was a goth. And then for a while it was pirates. The pirates lasted a little bit longer than I thought they would. They had a good 3-4 year run.
That's because they get to say R.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And they're still hanging on, but for a while it was everywhere. It was all pirates.
Yep.
And then it became steampunk. And steampunk was huge for a long time. It's still around, but it's not as omnipresent as it used to be. And I was never really sure what was going to follow steampunk. And I was a little surprised that it was Doctor Who. That Doctor Who became the next big thing after him. And I don't know what the next trend is going to be, but I know that we've reached peak Who. So something is going to be coming up the next year or two. I'm not sure what, but I think conventions in general have got to start being a little more careful.
What do you mean?
We're oversaturating the market.
Too many conventions?
Too many conventions. There are 3 library sci-fi cons going on this weekend in the Tidewater area here.
Really?
Yeah.
How big are those, by comparison?
They can draw anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 people.
Really? You call them library?
Library, yeah.
Why do you call them that?
Because they're usually hosted by libraries. What they do, and what it all is it's libraries do it for publicity to get people in.
Right.
And there are a lot of them doing it these days. And what they basically do is they set up a dealership. You'll get a lot of local authors and artists and costumers who will set up and promote their clubs or sell their books or whatever it is. And that has changed the perception of conventions. I remember when I used to start going to conventions, and I would tell the people I worked with after a con, and they would say, "Oh, are there going to be Klingons there?" Because that was the way people perceived conventions for a long time. It was all about Star Trek, yeah. And now when you say you're going to a convention, people say, "Oh, is that like Comic-Con?" And you have to explain that no, it's not at all like Comic-Con. It's kind of like Comic-Con, but there's more stuff going on. It's not like the big San Diego Comic-Con because it's not about media stuff. You don't have all the celebrities there, and it's not like the local Comic Cons because it's more than just a vendor's room. And a lot of people are having a hard time getting past seeing that. So, I've heard people say, why would I pay $45 for a convention when I can go to the one down the street for free? Because they think that that is a convention, because they're calling it a Comic-Con, and it's not really a convention. And we have seen so many of those little local one-day cons sprouting up, plus this just massive growth of the media cons. And we're already seeing the media cons start to fold. How many media cons have collapsed in the last year?
Wizard World.
Because they're promising too much, and people are starting to realize that that $80 that they paid for that autograph, it's just a piece of paper. It's not going to appreciate. And we're starting to see people shy away from some of the media cons, and I'm worried that we might start seeing some of that on our end. I haven't yet, which is one of the reasons why I've always tried very hard not to brand us in that same light, because I know that crunch is coming. I don't want to be caught up in that.
And so that is the natural segue into where next for Ravencon.
Just keep doing more of what we're doing. Like I said, I want to grow.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Yeah, I want to get us up to around 2,000 people. I'd love to get up to a Balticon, a Regia, that kind of size. Be a big local con.
Sure. Well, thank you for this and for sharing this, and now you can get it out there on the web, I guess.
Woo-hoo!
And it's really interesting learning this stuff,
Yeah.
because one of the things for me is that I did not come from a con background. I
Yep.
did not from a fan background, so it only dawned on me, I would say, as the years went on, just how much work is going on,
Yeah.
and that it's all volunteers. And
It is.
when you're new and you don't understand
Yeah.
that, it's easy to say, boy, there are a lot of flubs and failures here. And then you realize, as you start looking behind the scenes, you realize, as you were saying, all volunteers.
All volunteers, yeah.
And this is being pieced together from parts of people's lives that they can ill afford.
Yeah.
And then, as I was saying to somebody today, I'm always amazed at how well they run,
Yeah.
when you get right down to it. And Ravencon being certainly second to none in that
Well,
regard.
thank you.
Well, that's how it looks out here.
Yeah.
You know what it looks like behind the green
Oh, yeah.
curtain. But anyhow, thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you. Well, we still got time, so I'm gonna segue this around.
Okay.
You said you didn't come from a con background.
You're right.
So how did you discover the world of conventions?
Strangely enough, by tagging along with other people.
Yeah.
I knew they were out there. My first con was a kind of, I had no idea how momentous it was going to be when I went there, because I was just that stupid and ignorant. But I was working TV at that time, and an author that everybody knows very well, Jane Linskull, was at Fordham completing her doctorate. She was doing her doctorate on Roger Zelazny's work. So Roger Zelazny was going to be the guest of honor at Lunacon, which now Lunacon has ultimately returned apparently to the hotel it had been in back then, and it was either 88 or 89.
Right.
And so I'm there just sort of looking around. I have no idea what a convention is like, but I'm thinking, this is very strange and very wonderful, both at the same time. And so I was the one who wound up running into Roger Zelazny and introducing him to Jane. And so obviously far more stories would come out of that. And then in that same room, I sit down and I'm listening to this really interesting literate panel. And there are a bunch of folks up there, and I ask a question of one of them about where they see the role of speculative fiction in both modernism and postmodernism, and one of the people up there leans over and he says, I find that a very interesting question. Would you write that up? I said, sure. And I did not know that was David Hartwell, who recently lost, of course. And so my first publication in science fiction was actually nonfiction inside the New York Review of Science Fiction. So that's how and I was stupid. I had no idea really where I was putting my feet on it, so to speak.
That's exciting. Yeah, Roger was. It's great you got to meet him. He was,
Just that one time,
yeah.
like for about 18 seconds.
I only got to meet him the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a Kaleidoscope where he was guest of honor. This is back when I was doing the comic, and I was a programming guest there. And I think it was right after I just done a panel with Charles Vess. So yeah, they had some really good names there that year. And I go into the dealer's room to talk to one of the con runners. And she said, "Oh, by the way, Mike, have you met Roger?" And I'm like, and this was what, 94? So this was shortly before he passed.
Yeah.
This was one of his last cons.
Yeah.
And Kaleidoscope, back to con stories. I love Kaleidoscope because it is the only convention I've ever had to cross a picket line to get to.
What was going on?
Well, it was a little Virginia convention hosted in Lynchburg. Fallbrook. And he had all his supporters were out there. We're all devil worshippers, so they're all picketing him.
Of course, yeah.
I got to cross the picket line to go into the con. It was